Salam everyone and welcome back. We are so excited to have you here today for a brand new explainer.
For sure. And we're kicking things off with a massive shout out to the incredible YouTube channel, Speak and Shine with Marwa.
Today, we're actually using their brilliant breakdowns to completely demystify English past tenses and transitions. It's gonna be a game changer.
You know, if you're learning English, past tenses can feel like a bit of a maze, right? There are just so many rules floating around. But here's the secret we learned from Speak and Shine with Marwa. When you actually visualize these tenses, everything just clicks.
Absolutely. It's all about seeing the timeline. Once you see how these actions interact visually, it's like a light bulb goes on. You won't have to memorize a single thing, you'll just naturally feel how it works.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to quickly hit the simple past tense, then move into past continuous and those pesky interruptions. After that, we'll dive into the past perfect and wrap up our individual tenses with the past perfect continuous.
Right, and then finally, we'll bring it all together by comparing these tenses side by side.
Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the simple past tense for completed actions. So, let's look at the formula. It's super straightforward. Step 1, grab your subject. Step 2, just tack an ed onto the base verb if it's regular. Now, if it's irregular, you're going to use that second column. You know, the one often called V2.
And here is a really quick reminder about why this tense is honestly your best friend. Unlike the present tense, there's absolutely no third-person S to stress over here. He worked, I worked, they worked. It's exactly the same across the board.
And this timeline right here brilliantly illustrates the core concept. Let's say you visited Paris in 2024. That is a completely finished one-and-done action.
Right, exactly. It happened entirely in the past. It's totally finished. And notice how it doesn't touch 2025 or the present moment at all. It's just neatly boxed in over there in 2024.
Now, while we usually think of the simple past for just one completed action, it actually has a few other really handy uses.
Oh, for sure. Like a series of completed actions. Just think about your typical morning routine. I woke up, brushed my teeth, and had breakfast. That's 1, 2, 3 separate finished actions, all lined up in the past.
It's also completely perfect for past habits. You know, something like, I always walked to school when I was a kid. Or even a fixed duration of time in the past. Moving right along to section 2, past continuous and interruptions. Basically, actions in progress.
The formula here is very logical. Step 1, subject. Step 2, you grab your past auxiliary verb, so either was or were. And step 3, your base verb, but this time with ing stuck on the end. That ing is exactly what gives it that ongoing, continuous, stretching out feel.
So, to put this into practice, I've got a direct question for you. What were you doing yesterday at exactly 7 p.m.?
Keeping me on my toes. Let's see. Well, yesterday at exactly 7 p.m., I was making dinner. I definitely started before 7 and I finished well after 7. So at that exact moment, I was right in the middle of it.
Now, let's look at how these tenses actually transition and interact in the real world. Picture this. You started taking a shower at 6:45 p.m. You finally finished at 7:15 p.m. That right there is a long, continuous action. But boom! Right at 7 p.m., the phone rang. This is a classic interruption.
And honestly, this is where the magic happens. We use the past continuous for the long action, like was going downstairs, and then the simple past for the short action, like tripped and fell.
Exactly. These two tenses just interact perfectly to tell this really dramatic story of an interrupted event. That long action sets the whole scene, and then the short action just swoops in and cuts it right off.
All right, On to section 3, the past perfect, the deep past, and the sequence of events. Let's build out the formula. Step 1, subject. Step 2, had. And step 3, your past participle, or V3. Honestly, guys, this rule is a total breeze because you only ever use had. You literally don't even have to worry about changing it to match the subject.
Now, the absolute most crucial point here is knowing when you actually need to use it. If two different actions happened in the past, how do we prove to someone which one happened first?
Right. Let's look at the timeline. At 6 p.m., the eating happened. And then later, at 8 p.m., the calling happened. By saying I had eaten when she called, you are visually proving to your listener that the eating was 100% completely finished before that call ever even took place.
And to make your life a whole lot easier, you're going to want to keep an eye out for these signal words. Already, before, after, by the time, when, just, and never.
I always say, think of these words as your secret cheat codes. Whenever you spot them in a sentence, they are a massive hint that you probably need the past perfect to show the clear order of operations.
The past perfect is also beautifully used when we want to talk about regrets or hypothetical situations. You know what grammar folks call the third conditional?
Oh, for sure. Think about reality. He failed because he didn't study. Both of those are just simple past. But in our imagination, if he had studied, he would have gotten a better score. We use that deep past to talk about an alternate timeline that never actually.
Boy host, which brings us to section 4, past perfect continuous, focusing on duration and effect. Let's build this formula together. You need your subject plus had plus been plus your base verb with an ing slapped on the end. I know it looks like a lot of pieces, but notice how it just logically stacks together like Lego blocks. It combines the had of the perfect tense, right there, with the ing of the continuous tense.
Exactly. And the whole reason we even bothered to use this long tense is all about highlighting duration. Just imagine this poor guy's situation. Hour 0, he starts waiting. Hour 2, she finally shows up.
We use the specific tense to really emphasize the painful, drawn-out duration of an action before another event happened. He had been waiting for 2 whole hours when she finally arrived. You literally feel the wait time with this tense.
And finally, section 5, comparing tenses. Let's bring these whole shebang together.
All right, let's tie it all up. Notice how the entire focus of the sentence completely changes with each transition.
Look at this. I worked. Simple past. The focus. It's finished. A one-time deal. But then, I was working. Past continuous. The focus shifts entirely. The action was ongoing. Or maybe it got interrupted.
Then we step back to I had worked. Past perfect, focus, sequence. This definitely happened before something else. And finally, I had been working. Past perfect continuous, focus, the sheer grinding duration of the action before another event finally happened.
It all just depends on what part of the story you want to highlight for the person you're talking to.
Which brings us right to the end of today's explainer. But you know, I do have a quick confession to make. I wish I had subscribed to Speak and Shine with Marwa earlier. See what I did there? A lovely past perfect regret.
Ha! Beautifully executed. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. We really hope that visualizing these timelines has completely unlocked the past tenses for you.
Now we want to hear from you. It's time to put your new grammar skills to the test. What is your past perfect regret? Let us know. Keep practicing those tenses, and we'll see you in the next explainer.